Bim! Guess what? It's just gone 9 o'clock on the 7th of April 2024. We're already nearly halfway through the year. Okay, we're not, we're quite the way through the year. But yeah, that's gone quick, hasn't it? Yeah, welcome to this show, podcast. And basically, what I do is I talk about the news, put my spin on it, give my opinion. You can either agree, disagree, it's entirely up to yourselves. That's the whole point of this thing. Let's just get chatting about stuff. Obviously, we've got stuff going on that's quite serious. So we've got the incidents in Gaza. We've also got J.K. Rowling kicking up a fuss, Ukraine, a bit of Taylor Swifty news, and loads of other bits and pieces as well. Hello, Alan. We've also got good news about justice that was late in coming. And then we've also got then the news from around the world as reported around the world. And then we have the stuff that kind of makes everything look okay again. The bit where I go, and finally, what are we going to talk about now? And you go, or whatever. So yeah, that's basically the show in a nutshell. You can join in the chat by joining the chat if this is live. If it's not live, then you can feel free to leave a comment in the comments section. You can also leave a comment in the comment section now if you want, but to be fair, I don't get notification of those while I'm on air, so I won't read it until afterwards, which will be too late. So let's get this road on the show. And the main news of the week, sadly, only one main news of the week. And yeah, it was horrendous. But we start off with, it's in Gaza. Obviously it's in Gaza, unfortunately. I need to find my thing. Where are we? There we go. And there we go. And there we go. And there we go. Although technically it wasn't. It was Syria. In Syria, the Iranian embassy was destroyed. It's basically that pile of rubble between them two buildings. In Syria, Damascus, killing one alleged Hamas leader and a few other members of various different groups, including the Iranians who were there. And it does seem weird that Israel is just taking on the entire world at the moment. I think they can do whatever they want, and at the moment they do seem to be doing whatever they want, but murdering people in another country, which isn't actually involved directly in the wars, just makes no sense. And so Iranian consulate was struck by a missile. Major general killed. Israel say they have left the hospital that they were at, but it has been destroyed. And IDF say 200 Hamas were killed in the targeted attack on the hotel. We've got some more viewers joining, so a big shout out to Kelly, Rollo and Stephen. Hope you're all well. Then we had, at the end of the day, that was bad enough. And then we had breaking news, which was even worse. Reports coming in that foreign aid workers were killed in Gaza during an IDF attack. At least that's what the World Central Kitchen says, and they are the charity that these unfortunate people work for. And that was Monday the 1st of April, which brings us to daylight on the 2nd of April, which was a Tuesday. Israel admit they carried out the attack on the aid workers, and it caused unintentional harm to innocent peoples, they reckon. 7 dead, including 3 UK. Cars marked with the World Central Kitchen logo on the top, as you can see from the picture. And the vehicles were at over a mile apart. Now, I thought when I first heard about this that all these vehicles were together, or they were all in one vehicle. But no. They didn't just get it wrong once. They actually got it wrong 3 times. The cars were hit. The first car to the last car was 1.5 miles. And you're like, what is Israel doing? They've come up with some cock and bull story about this, that and the other, but not having any of that, I'm sorry. This was a target attack on people who were trying to help the people of Gaza, who were starving and ending in a famine because of Israel. I mean, these cars were obliterated. The people in them had no chance. They basically got out of car number 1, went to car number 2. That got blown up, so they then went to the 3rd car, and that's one where they all got killed in the car when it got a direct hit. Wednesday, the bodies of the humanitarian workers murdered by Israel were said to be taken to Egypt. The IDF says that it was a grave mistake, and another investigation by Israel, is underway, and they admitted that the cars were on a designated safe road, i.e. a road that the IDF knew aid workers in cars that were marked with aid workers markings on the roof were allowed to drive along without any fear of being hit. Yeah, I just don't understand why people are still supporting them. Brings us to Thursday, and Biden says Washington continued support means the IDF must take steps for a ceasefire or withdrawal of support will occur. So basically Biden's now saying, because Biden's making money out of this, or rather America's making money out of this, they're telling Israel not to be naughty people and kill innocent people, but they're still supplying weapons to them to do it. But he's now said we may take that away. That was on Thursday. Friday, Israel say multiple failures. They've also sacked 2 of their military top-ranking people for the mistakes made. It was a grave mistake and a catalogue of errors. Israel says it will open up 2 new aid routes into Gaza, which are land aid routes, one near Rafah, which is the bottom one, and one about halfway up Gaza, neither of which are going to make a huge amount of difference for the number of people who are starving to death. Saturday, the sister of a dead hostage blames Israel government for not negotiating with Hamas, and today Israel Prime Minister says he's only 1 step away from victory, and there's no end to the war until all the hostages are released. So what a reasonable person he is. What happened on October the 7th, 6 months ago today, is abhorrent and horrendous and blah 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 blah. No one's supporting Hamas in any way, shape or form, but what Israel has done, for me, is war crimes. Numerous times, not just once, but a lot of times. Oh, looks like I might be online. Let me just check. Yep, yeah, I'm now online. That's good to know, isn't it? I've been online for 7 minutes, but there you go. I've got the notification, so let me know I'm online. That brings us to the news roundup of the week. Now, this is the bit where we look at the news as reported in the UK from around the world during the course of the week. So we will start with April Fool's Day, which was Monday. J.K. Rowling invites the police to arrest her, saying new laws will reduce freedom of speech. Now, these are the laws involving, I was looking at the planet then, involving hate speech. So if you call someone fat, or if you said a naughty word about their ethnic background, be it race or religion, or anything, you could literally get investigated by the police and go to prison. Now, I'm not an expert what's going on in Scotland, but I'm sure they've got more problems with drug dealers and knife crime with the kids and things like that, rather than what people say online. But they've got the useless new leader who makes Nicola Sturgeon look actually good, and make Nicola Sturgeon look like she had a brain. I know, who knew? No one, obviously. A new study finds 250 may have died unnecessarily while waiting in A&E last year, or is it monthly? Can't remember. But yeah, the waiting list when you get to hospital, if you have a heart attack, stroke, accident, whatever, or a fall if you're elderly, means that you may be on a trolley stuck in a waiting room or in a corridor, and people have lost their lives due to that. Now, the thing is about the NHS, it is not underfunded. The NHS has got shed loads of money being pumped into it, more money than ever before, even if you look at various different ways of saying it hasn't. It has. And the problem it's got is there are too many management, there are too many people in offices, not actually frontline workers. What we need to do is get rid of all the management, streamline that down. The money we save we can then actually put into getting more nurses, doctors, and just speeding up things, making things work better, getting more beds in wards and things like that. But will any government be brave to do that? I don't know. 20 Labour councillors resign en masse in the Pendle area in the northwest of the UK. It's the biggest under Keir Starmer's leadership. They say they are mainly Muslims, but they say that the party no longer reflects their views. Now, it's not just about religion, it's more to do with about the Labour Party not being for the people anymore. Remember, you've got Keir Starmer, who's a Knight of the Realm, the only person who isn't Knight of the Realm, who's the leader of a national party, is weirdly Rishi Sunak, you know, Rishi Rich. But anyway, that's what they've said. So they've all resigned en masse, and they've all become independents. Which brings us to Tuesday the 2nd. There was an Iranian journalist, I think we mentioned it last week, who was stabbed on his doorstep. The reports coming in that the attackers fled in a car, ended up going to an airport and fleeing the country only a couple of hours later. Though no one said what country they've gone to, one can only assume it's Iran. Ukraine says it hit a factory 800 miles inside Russia, which is the furthest it has struck in Russia. And Taylor Swift, I know, you were wondering where the Swiftie news was. She's entered the Forbes richest list. She's basically a self-made billionaire, and fair play to her. If she wants to give me 0.001% of her money for saying that, I'll be happy with that, thank you. On Wednesday, the 3rd of April, large earthquake in Taiwan on the Pacific Ring of Fire fault. Not so many injuries, and not so many deaths either, because Taiwan is built for this kind of thing. But a couple of buildings did topple, and one of the ones I saw was looked very new, to be fair, rather than not new. The Royal Mail says they want to only deliver second-class letters every other day. They are basically trying to save money because no one sends letters anymore. Everyone sends either packages, which go with other companies, or we email people, or we WhatsApp people, or we text people if you're, you know, like a granddad. So yeah, they need to make more money by saving money. So the only way they can do that is only have second-class deliveries every other day. But I don't understand how that would work, because the posters still have to go around to post the first-class mail. So why would it make any difference if they didn't have second-class mail? And surely it'd make their job harder on the days they did have second-class mail. But hey, I'm not a post office management very clever thinker. Oh, hang on a minute. No, hang on. The post office management head office and all that, they're not clever. No, just think of the scandal that's currently going on as well. The USA say NASA should give the moon a standard time. Because whenever a country goes up there, they use the time of their country, or certainly from the launch site of their country, because obviously America has multiple time zones in it, as does Russia, as does China. So saying there should be one standard time, because days are completely different up there. And you're like, well, how does that work? Well, yeah, because if you think about it, the moon doesn't actually spin. Whenever you look at the moon, it's always the same side you see. It doesn't do like the Earth does, which is spin on its axis. The other reason why the moon moves is because the Earth is spinning. Anyway, we'll see if that happens. We'll see whether the other countries agree to whatever time they come up with. I just think they should come up with Greenwich Moon Time, and then the time on the moon is always what it is in Greenwich. Not that I think we should change the clocks anymore either, but there you go. So almost 20 years after the murder of P.C. Beshinsky, shot outside a travel agency in Bradford, the last of the 7 men were found guilty and will be sentenced accordingly. This happened on Thursday the 4th of April. Over 600 people trapped and many dead after the Taiwanese earthquake, mainly in tunnels, things like that. There's some incredible footage. By many dead, thankfully not thousands. Any death is a sad thing, but it wasn't as horrific as it could have been in pretty much any other country in that area. Friday the 5th, the parent company of Thames Water has defaulted on payments of debt, which is amounting to quite a lot of money, so may well go under or call in the administrators. Now the good news is apparently that Thames Water, although that's the parent company, Thames Water is a separate entity. I don't know how that works. If you own something and you go bust, then whatever you own goes bust as well, don't it? Especially when it's going bust. But anyway, there's rumours about nationalisation now of it, which basically means take it back under public control. And I think all water companies should be under public control, because all these companies that have bought the water companies and made millions, if not billions of pounds of profit, and not putting that profit back in, but paid their greedy shareholders, of now saying, oh, hang on a minute, the system we've got, being a Victorian-based water and sewer network, isn't fit for purpose. We need to replace it. Also, we need to put your bills up. No, no. All these shareholders have earned all this money from, which is a human right, water, need to pay it back, or we buy it back off them. So we buy the companies back. So say, for example, United Utilities, which is the Northwest Water provider, and you don't get a choice, that is it. If they bought it for 10 billion back in the day, and they've made 30 billion from it, then we get it back for free. They've already made enough money on it, thank you very much. However, if they've only made 4 billion on it, well, we give them 6 billion and buy it back, and we take it over and we get it running properly, because water should be for the people, it should not be for people to make profit. Constituents agree to pay deal. Consultants agree to pay deal on the 3 to 13% on top of 6% wage offer, which means the consultants will no longer go on strike. However, the junior doctors will continue to go on strike because, well, that's just dickheads. The 4.8 magnitude earthquake hits New York. Again, some interesting pictures, including a webcam looking down off the Statue of Liberty with the book wobbling like crazy. It was very spooky. But no major structural damage and no major injuries or death from it, which is good. Also on Friday, I went out drinking with a couple of Tory people, Luke, who you know, and Mike, who I interviewed recently on Wigan Watch. And yeah, I was worse aware for pretty much the whole weekend. But it was a good night, good night. The day before, personal news, I put my documents in for standing as an independent councillor in the upcoming local elections in the Pemberton ward. So that was a bit of news as well, a bit personal news. Saturday, the 6th, I was ill. That's not the news though. 2 planes collide on the tarmac at Heathrow. One was the clipped wing, sorry. And also, flights were cancelled as Storm Kathleen hit. But also, we had the hottest day of the year down in Suffolk. So, all kicking off yesterday. The Storm Kathleen was the 11th named storm in 8 months, which is shocking that we're naming storms. Although this one, to be fair, did appear to be quite bad in certain places, although it didn't really directly hit the UK. On today, following a stabbing in Bradford, the suspect has been given as a 25-year-old. He's known to the victim, and search warrants and such premises are going on all over the northwest, because apparently I got contacts in Bradford, Bolton, Oldham and Blackburn. So you see the person, do not be getting in their way, just call the police. Which brings us to the world news. Let's see what's been going on actually in the chat room. People saying hi, Kieran. Reese, hello. So yeah, a big shout out to Rollo. Wasn't apt at the time, but we can say it now because we're in between things. So yeah, Rollo. Good dog. Who's a good dog? Oh, Rollo. Roll over, Rollo. Roll over, Rollo. Or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, don't forget to like, share and subscribe and join in the comments if you want to. You also get a shout out at the end of the show if you've joined in the comments. Although, to be fair, it's gone through quite quick, so I think a lot of the comments might have already gone. But you'll get a shout out towards the end anyway. Which is going to bring us up to the world news reported this week. Went down the wrong hole. Right, where are we up to? So yeah, World News reported this week. So what has been going on around the world, and how has it been reported, you all here ask? You don't hear, you ask, don't you? You ask. What are you asking for? I don't know. I do know, actually. It's quite a bit, not a huge amount. China debuts first Corgi police dog. Now, I don't think this is a racist comment to say, but I know that the Chinese population in general is not as tall as basketball players in America, but a Corgi police dog. China has a new popular police officer. Meet Fuzai, the Corgi puppy who was a reserve police dog in the city of Vifang, which is ironic. The new recruit started training at just 2 months old and is now outperforming many of his peers. So there you go then. It's a bit rough, isn't it? A bit rough. That was for Rollo, by the way. Rollo. Tens of thousands of Israelis have just held the largest anti-government movement in Israel since the war began, placing escalating pressure on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to commit to a ceasefire and a deal to get the hostages back. Basically, he's just got his hands like that. Isn't the corgis what the royal family have? Yes, it is, Kelly. They do have corgis. Although whether they get any more or not, apparently that's the only thing they trust in Prince Andrew with is the corgi dogs. They don't trust him with anything else, but you know, dogs bite back. 2 men drown rescuing a child at Surfers Paradise. You think, oh, that's horrific. But no, this is a weird story. A family holiday in the Gold Coast has ended in tragedy after 2 men from Victoria drowned while trying to rescue a 2-year-old from an apartment pool. Emergency services were called to the top of the Mark on Arching Avenue just before 7 p.m. following reports the men had found themselves in trouble. The pair, believed to be the father and grandfather of the toddler, was sadly unable to be revived. And you're like, what? And people have commented. Someone called Sam David, how does that happen? How violent were the conditions in this pool? And someone else has put, how is that even possible? I would understand it if it happened in the ocean, but a pool. But there's no further, nothing ever came of it. That was just it, and it's bizarre. In America, US pump prices set to climb on Russian refinery outages because America still gets a lot of petrol from Russia. No, it doesn't. But obviously, there's less petrol around, then prices globally go up. Lou Carter, the last survivor of the USS Arizona from Pearl Harbor attack, dies at the age of 102. Yeah, we're coming up now to the centenary of the Pearl Harbor attack. I would imagine in another 20 years or so. But yeah, Lou Carter is the last surviving member of the USS Arizona, but sadly has passed away at a grand old age of 102. A person is diagnosed with bird flu after being in contact with cows in Texas. Doesn't specify what the contact was, but it's in Texas, so make your own assumptions. Australian killed in Gaza. An Australian aid worker has been reportedly killed in an Israeli airstrike in Gaza. The attack killed 4 people working with World Central Kitchen supporting humanitarian food delivery efforts. This is a tragedy. Humanitarian aid workers and civilians should never be a target, ever, the organisation said, and 100% agree. Anyway, do you support going cashless? Now this is Australia, mate. Do you support Australia becoming cashless? And that's what the Australian government is pushing for. Pro-cash activists are expected to flock to ATMs to withdraw money in protest of Australia's move to cashless society. Dubbed the Draw Out Some Cash Day, demonstrators intend to take sums of $20 or more with the hope of pouring cash back into businesses. It's a good idea. I don't think cashless society is the future. It's just a way of control, as I've said before many times. If you can only pay using electronic means, be it your card or be it your phone or your smartwatch or whatever, everything you do is being monitored. So they know where you are, what you spent, how often you go there, and they can stop you. So say for example your bank gets shares in Asda or Walmart, if you're in America, and decides that they want you to only shop there if you've got a bank account with them, they could do that. They could literally stop your car from working in Tesco or Target or whatever. But it's more the knowing what you're doing, and then they can manipulate what you can buy. So maybe you go to a newsagent to buy too many cigarettes, so they stop your card working in there, but you can't get any cash to buy the cigarettes. You know, there's loads of control methods that they can use if we go cashless. And then, of course, as I've said before, if there's another world war, when there's another world war, chances are it's not going to be feet on ground, it's going to be cyber attacks. So if you're a cashless society and all your banks get taken down with a cyber attack, then the whole country grinds to a halt because there's no cash. You can't get cash anywhere. So yeah, the whole thing is an absolute nonsense and should not happen anywhere in the world. An Aussie killed in the Gaza was identified. An Australian humanitarian aid worker killed in an Israeli airstrike has been identified. Lauzami Francom, along with 3 other international aid workers and a Palestine driver, were killed in central Gaza while working for the World Central Kitchen Organization. Supermarket merch drop. And the first thing it says is, no, this is not an April Fool's. In a surprising move, Aldi Australia has today announced its first ever clothing range. The supermarket's widely popular Isle of Dreams can expect a fresh look from April the 13th, offering 23 new pieces of unisex streetwear. I mean, can you imagine walking around with Aldi stuff on? I mean, the Greg stuff didn't last long at Primark, did it? Because that was just nonsense. Several injured in school shooting, and you're like, oh yeah, we're in America. No, Finland. A 12-year-old student opened fire at a secondary school in southern Finland and wounded 3 other students. The shooting took place at Velota school in the city of Vantaa, outside the capital, with the suspect later arrested. 12-year-old getting a gun in Finland. Reuters have said the once jailed opposition candidate, him, was sworn in as Senegal's 5th and youngest ever president. The new president vowed to tackle corruption and introduce a series of economic reforms. Be fair, he does look about 13. Yeah, wish him luck with that, and hopefully he doesn't become corrupted, because they say that power corrupts and absolute power absolutely corrupts. Or something, I don't know. See what's going on here. Why's my phone going? Bing, 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 bing. Oh no, it's junk mail. Talking of which, Tennessee passes chemtrail bill banning airborne chemicals. So Tennessee has come up with this brilliant idea of banning aeroplanes flying over its airspace because of the chemicals that come out of the jets. And you're like, but don't they realise how high up they are and how strong the winds are? So the chances are what you see up in the sky is not going to land on you, it's going to land on someone about 100 miles away, or 200 miles away, or 1,000 miles away, because of the winds and everything. But anyway, no, it's obviously local government at its best. Eurozone factory downturn deepened in March, but some recovery signs. In America, oh no, Eurozone, sorry. So it's the whole of Europe is having a slowdown in factory output. Possibly caused by shortages and various other bits and pieces as well, but it kind of proves the point that it's not just Britain that's suffering, it's got nothing to do with Brexit. Going back to the Gaza tragedy, this is when it was breaking news. Israel's military says misidentification led to Gaza airstrikes that killed A workers, and with the famine looming, A group halts food delivery in Gaza after the Israeli strike. And again, just look at it. I mean, fucking rocket goes through the sign on top of the car saying what the car is. It's IDF. Pokemon card listed for $6 million. It's $6 million Australian dollars, so it's about £8.10. The elusive Pikachu Illustrator card is one of less than 40 of its type in existence and is highly sought after by collectors. 6 million though? No, I might give you £6, but I don't really like it, so it doesn't really matter. Anthony Albanese, the Prime Minister, whose head has been chopped off in this picture for some reason, says that the Israeli Prime Minister has accepted responsibility for an unintentional airstrike that killed Australian aid worker Zumi Fankoum in a phone call overnight. The conversation with the Austrian PM came shortly after Netanyahu labelled the deaths of 7 humanitarian workers as something that happens in wartime. Well, that's good then, isn't it? You know what? I've never had opinion on Israelis or Jews or anything, but I'm beginning to form one at the moment. A 14-year-old cloakroom attendant helped people escape when a gunman attacked a concert hall near Moscow, killing at least 144 people. Now his mother is concerned about his mental health. He should be proud of himself. I assume that's a young lad and that's his mum, who's doing her best impression of Laura Croft. But yeah, if he's got people into a safe place, then he should be proud of himself. Pokemon got to catch them all. Yeah. A 12-year-old boy shot and killed. A 12-year-old boy who shot and killed a fellow 6th grader and severely injured 2 others in Finland says his motive was being bullied. As per the police, a study shows that bullying in Finnish schools has increased over the years. Bullying in all schools has increased over the years, not helped by social media. I mean, I'm beginning to think that the mother of Brianna, the murdered transgender girl from not too far away from here, has got a point saying that your kids should only have the equivalent of Nokia 3310s, where they can text and they can ring, but they can't do a lot else with it. And certainly you can't get pictures taken of themselves and then sent to people, and then they go all over the school, which is obviously bullying, or buddying as I like to call it. Voluntary administration for Marquee Retail Group. The parent company of accessory brands Khalid by Khalid Heyman and the Daily Edited has entered voluntary administration in Australia. The company says it will be business as usual as they aim to keep their 60 stores open, but this is the time of year where companies do start to fall quite quickly. Fingers crossed we don't get any big losses in the UK, because we've already had enough. Car rams into the gate at FBI office in Atlanta. The driver was arrested after attempting to enter the facility, or faculty if you're American. A driver was arrested after ramming a red SUV into the front gate of the FBI's Atlanta headquarters, according to the Bureau. The FBI said the vehicle drove past the employee entrance gate shortly after noon as the unidentified suspect attempted to enter the Georgia facility. The suspect was taken into custody by the DeKalb County Police and transported to an area hospital for evaluation. You've got to be a bit, put a few butties short of a picnic if you're ramming a FBI centre. 6'7" Baron Trump towers over mum Melania in a rare appearance with the Donald. Donald Trump's 6'7" son Baron towered over his mother, Melania, as the pair made a rare appearance alongside the once again presidential candidate for Easter brunch at Mar-a-Lago. Baron, 18, and his 53-year-old mum have been noticeably absent from the former President Trump's campaign trail, but appeared at his Palm Beach, Florida estate in their Sunday best for the holiday festivities. Baron Trump doesn't look like he enjoys the limelight, but to be fair, he was only a kid when his dad was president. But how do you cope with having a dad who was like over 60 when you were born? It's just weird, isn't it? Secrets of Diddy's Billionaire Boys Club. Rapper wooed Wall Street elite who called him genius before sex trafficking probe. Sean Diddy Combs aggressively marketed himself to the ultra-rich as he turned his edgy rap glamour into $1 billion fortune. billionaires told the Post he would cold email with business proposals, while other Wall Streeters acclaimed him as a genius. But yeah, it looks like his empire is about to crumble. Sticky-fingered White House reporters warned to stop pocketing items from Air Force One. Some White House reporters have apparently been swiping everything from pillowcases to plates and glasses from Air Force One to keep as souvenirs, prompting their professional organisation to warn them to knock it off. Well, that's what they're doing, they're knocking it off. They do want this knocked off Air Force Ones. In an off-the-record email sent to members of the White House Correspondents Association, the elite journalist was scalded for pilfering whilst being given free travel basically around the world. Admitted, they'd have to suffer President Biden and all his cronies. House Republicans pushed to rename Dulles International Airport for Donald Trump. Well, it's the same name, isn't it? Because he's as dull as well. Top House Republican introduced legislation that would rename Washington Dulles International Airport after the former president and soon-to-be convicted criminal, Donald Trump. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? I mean, literally, what could possibly go wrong? California's $20 fast food minimum wage balloons menu prices, with some chains increasing costs by nearly $2. You'll be dropping a lot of dollar on that Whopper menu. Prices at a fast food chains across California have increased as new law went into effect, requiring them to pay a $20 an hour minimum wage to workers. The Post checked menus at several restaurants in the Los Angeles area to see if the cost had already been passed on to the consumer, with mixed results. I think it's fair to say, though, that it does make sense for them to put the prices up, because although on this one it only looks like they've gone up by a few cents, because I can just make out the highlights that they've got on there, so they haven't gone up by a huge amount. But minimum wage is going up all over the world, which basically means companies, particularly smaller companies, have to pay more, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make more money. So then what I did was cut hours and just kept cutting hours, and then eventually got rid of everyone. Not in a bad way, I mean just let them go. And I do it all on my own now, because I can't afford to employ anyone because of the minimum wage. But they've also got, especially if you're a fast food joint or a pub or other establishments similar, like Iceland or whatever, although they are a big company, but an independent Iceland one. You've got all your freezers, you've got all your ovens, you've got all your various cooking things that you need to power, and power prices have gone up around the world. So yeah, obviously prices of fast food is going to go up, but hopefully they get enough people buying it, it will work out in the long run. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of minimum wage. I think if you work for a big company, that's fine, but if you're a small company, then you should have some leeway. Maybe to go down the route of like we did during the COVID crisis, where you say you've got less than 15 employees, and instead of paying £11.14 or whatever it is, you can only afford to pay say £8, but the government pay the remaining £3 odd. Whereas if you're a big company with over thousands of employees, then you've obviously got the readies to absorb that. But anyway, I'm not an expert. I am an expert. Biden speaks with Xi Jinping in first US-Chinese phone call since 2022. President Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping spoke on the phone for the first time in nearly 2 years in an attempt to squash some of the raging tensions between the two nations. Intense competition requires intense diplomacy to manage tensions, address misinterpretations and prevent unintended conflict, a senior Biden administration official told reporters. Well, it wouldn't have been Biden because he wouldn't have been able to string them words together, and to be fair, I struggled with it as well, and I'm a professional. Not at that though. Known terrorist spent a year in the US after being wrongly released by the feds, and lawmakers are demanding answers. A Somali terrorist was allowed into the country and able to operate freely for almost a year before authorities realised the error and re-arrested him. Republican lawmakers are now demanding information from Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas about what happened to the man and whether the US citizens funded any part of his journey. Oh, that could be a juicy one, because if there's one, there's going to be more than one, isn't there? That's the thing. Dali owners deny fault for Baltimore Bridge collapse and demand lawsuits be capped at the price of the bolt. Now, I'm not an expert on these things, but I think we can blame the bolt for the crash because it was the bolt that crashed. But no, the owners and manager of the cargo ship that crashed into the Baltimore Bridge last week and sent its metal frame tumbling into the river below have denied responsibility, as they have tried to argue that they shouldn't be held liable for amounts larger than the value of their damaged vessel. Yeah, that sounds like a really flawless plan. It looks like they've been taking advice from the solicitors or whatever they're called in America that Donald Trump's got, because it's absolute nonsense. Ashton Kutcher reportedly fears being drawn into investigation of longtime friend Diddy. Well, he's got nothing to fear if he did do anything. Yeah. The intensifying sex trafficking probe into Sean Diddy Combs has thrown a fresh spotlight on the rapper's longtime friendship with Ashton Kutcher. Kutcher, 46, and Diddy, 54, have hosted TV shows on MTV and have spoken highly of each other during the decades-old friendship. The pair were both on the Late Late Show, James Corden, in 2018 and gushed over each other. I don't think they should be doing in public. What they do in private is perfectly fine in their own business, but you should not be gushing over people in public, particularly on national TV. Judge rejects Trump's request to delay hush money trial until SCOTUS rules on immunity. A judge rejected Donald Trump's bid to delay his April 15th hush money criminal trial until the Supreme Court rules on the presidential immunity claims he's raised in another of his criminal cases. Manhattan Judge Juan M. Merchan deemed the former president's request untimely, ruling that his lawyers had a myriad of opportunities to raise the immunity issue before they finally did so in a March the 17th email communication. Ruby Garcia's sister says Trump lied about reaching out to murder victims' family and found it shocking. This was the police officer who was murdered in New York last week or the week before, and Trump was going on about how he'd been with the family and all this kind of stuff. Well, the sister of Ruby Garcia, a 25-year-old Michigan resident allegedly murdered by her illegal... Oh no, it's a different person. Has claimed former President Donald Trump lied when he said during a campaign event that he had spoken to the bereaved family. Maeve Garcia said she and her relatives watched in disbelief as Trump 77 made the claim during a campaign event at Grand Rapids. So Donald Trump says something that may not be true. A non-binary Canadian seeks public funding for surgery to create a vagina whilst preserving penis. A non-binary Canadian is seeking to undergo surgery in Texas to construct a vagina while preserving the penis, using taxpayer funds for the unusual gender-affirming procedure. The 33-year-old Ontario resident, referred to as KS in court papers, was born male but identifies as non-binary and literally a mix of genders. Yeah, you know what he can do? He can go himself. Although, to be fair, after the operation, he probably can himself. Hashtag just saying. A bearded trans athlete who hurt rivals was suspended from rowing team for ogling topless girl. A bearded transgender basketball player attending a Massachusetts private school who was seen in a viral video knocking down a rival during a game was allegedly suspended from a female rowing team for staring at a topless girl in a changing room, according to reports. The same 6-foot-tall student athlete enrolled at KIPP Academy participated in 6 events. Yes, I do not believe that anyone who is transgender should compete in non-transgender things, and I've spoke about it numerous times before. So yeah. Stranded Australian cruise passengers describe worst experience of their lives. An Australian couple stranded on an African island after being abandoned by a Norwegian cruise line ship have spoken out about their ordeal, saying it was the worst experience of our lives. Doug and Violetta Sanders said they had to fend for themselves after a private tour they took during a stop last week on the island of Sao Tome ran past the time they needed to return to the Norwegian Dawn, and it set sail without them. Sorry. I don't know, I can think of worse things than being stranded on a Caribbean island, I'll be honest with you. Florida man nearly hit by a possible space junk that tore through the roof of his home, and it almost hit my son. A Florida man was nearly hit by a piece of space junk when a small metal object tore through the roof of his home. Alejandro's son, who was not named, I fancy not naming your son, had been relaxing at home when a small metal object that may have been from the International Space Station came crashing through his Naples house. It almost hit my son. He has 2 rooms over and I heard it. Yeah, it looks massive there, but it's not about the size of a bullet. But travelling at that speed, yeah, it could do some serious damage. Vacation horror as son 20 jumps overboard from Royal Caribbean cruise in front of his family. A cruise turned into a nightmare for people aboard the Royal Caribbean Liberty of the seas when a young man jumped overboard shortly after 4 a.m. The 18-story ship was sailing off the coast of Cuba when the as yet unidentified man jumped off one of the decks. According to onlookers, his father and brother watched helplessly as he leapt over the side. No confirmation as to any further with that story, whether he was rescued or sadly perished. Nervous parents beg New York City officials to do more to protect kids during the solar eclipse. Now you've got to remember, this is America. I mean, we had a solar eclipse in the UK 20 odd years ago, and it wasn't a big thing. I mean, it was a big thing, but yeah, it didn't really do much, and no one went blind from it. But these are Americans we're talking about, so we've got to be, a bit more, give them more guidance. They'll be reading, writing, and retina burning. Parents are imploring the City Department of Education to do more to keep their young students from damaging their eyes during Monday's solar eclipse, which peaks citywide as just as many schools are dismissed around 3 p.m. The city should do more to protect our kids. If anything happens to my son, I'm going to blame the... Sorry. No, if anything happens to your son, you blame yourself for telling him not to look at the fucking sun. I mean, that's the whole point. Don't look at your son, son. Don't look at the sun, son. But you look at me, Dad. Yeah, but you're my son. Well, I'm looking at the sun, son. Shut up. Bird flu pandemic could be 100 times worse than COVID, scientists warn. A bird flu pandemic with the potential to be 100 times worse than COVID may be on the horizon after a rare human case was discovered in Texas. Experts have warned. The H5N1 avian flu has spread rapidly since a new strain was detected in 2020, affecting wild birds in every state as well as commercial poultry and backyard flocks. But it has now even been detected in mammals with cattle herds across 4 states. So it could be the planet's way of sorting out this mess that's been created by humanity. Trump has recently spoken with the Saudi Crown Prince. Former President Donald Trump has spoken recently to the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, according to a report. The phone conversation between the presumptive Republican nominee for president and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, reported by the New York Times, comes as Biden administration pushes to normalise relations between Saudi Arabia and Israel, which hopefully will alleviate issues that are currently going on in that neck of the woods, so to speak. Still recovering from COVID after 2 weeks. Yeah, it's not good. Mum arrested after deputies find 2 kilos of cocaine in backpack worn by her 3-year-old. An Alabama woman was arrested after sheriff deputies discovered 2 kilos of cocaine stuffed inside the blue Nike backpack that her 3-year-old was wearing. Mobile County Sheriff deputies arrested Tiara Torricotta Hill, 35, after they discovered $450,000 worth of narcotics and multiple firearms during a search of a car and home, according to the news organisation Nearby. Put in a backpack full of a kilo. Some people. Justice Department sues Utah after transgender inmate removes her own testicles. The Justice Department filed a lawsuit against the state of Utah and its prison system after a transgender inmate removed her own testicles in response to unnecessarily delayed treatment for her gender dysphoria. The lawsuit alleges that the incarcerated transgender woman, unnamed in the complaint, was discriminated against by the Utah Department of Corrections. Sorry, you're in prison for something. You don't have human rights until you've served your sentence. New York's antiquated adultery ban one step closer to being tossed, which is an unfortunate term. A bill to scrap New York's antiquated state law banning adultery now heads to Governor Kathy Hochul's desk after being approved by legislatures. The measures sailed through the state Senate 57-4 without any debate on the Senate floor. We're down to 9 commandments, one lobbyist outside the Senate chamber said with a chuckle. The current law, written in 1907, dictates that someone found guilty of adultery could serve a prison sentence. But there's not 2 people doing adultery, is there? I mean, there's usually... Anyway. Can of worms? No. Truck full of salmon crashes and spills fish into the wrong river. There's something fishy about this spawning spot. A truck full of prized live king salmon crashed in rural Oregon, accidentally spilling thousands of the threatened fish into the wrong river. A truck was transporting over 100,000 juvenile salmon from the Looking Glass hatchery near the tiny town of Tollgate to be released in the Imran River when it skidded on a pavement and rolled over and released them into completely the wrong river. Now the problem is, will the fish, if they get to sea, ever be able to find their way back again? Just look for the wreck of the lorry, I suppose. Monte Carlo millionaires ordered to remove boulders they're using to block public access to popular hot springs or face stiff fines. They're giving them the cold boulder. Millionaires in a celebrity enclave in California having a meltdown over public access to a nearby trail to beloved hot springs are finding themselves between a rock and a hard place, with town officials insisting that their obstacles that they put there to stop people getting there are removed as they are unlawful. Thought of rocks in it really. Nearly 30 aftershocks recorded around New Jersey quake epicenters. The New Jersey continues to shake after Friday's 4.8 magnitude earthquake and likely will continue to do so for some time. You always get that though, to be fair, after an earthquake. Not that I'm an expert on these things, but you do get aftershocks. New York Police Department rolls out barnacle windshield boots to force violators to pay. The New York PD is unleashing a barnacles to battle parking pirates. The department this week said it will begin testing windshield boots, a £17 device that attaches onto a vehicle's windshield like a barnacle and remains there until the lawbreaker pays their ticket. This is on illegally parked vehicles. The contraption is also known as barnacle device for the way it uses commercial grade suction cups to attach to the glass. So yeah, I don't know how they get it off. And plus I'd be a bit worried because it looks heavy, that thing. How heavy is it? £17. I'd be worried about it scratching the windshield or window screen, as we say over here. And also because it's not a window shield, it's a shield that's a window. So window screen is better because it's a... No, it's not actually. That doesn't make sense either. Anyway, and scratching the paintwork as they take it on and off. And plus someone would have to lean over to put that on. So what are they wearing? Have they got like belts and things? But having said that, it's someone who's parked illegally, so come. Yeah, scratch the car, I don't care. Uvaid preps for huge eclipse influx 2 years after 21 killed in Texas school massacre. One Texan town hopes to be in the path of Monday's total solar eclipse, and it will propel tourists and residents to see the community in an entirely different light after it was the site of one of the nation's deadliest school shootings. Uvalde, whose 15,000 residents are still reeling for the May 2022 shooting at Robb Elementary School that left 19 children and 2 adults dead. They expect considerably more visitors for this event, but it's, you know, they want these visitors to think, oh, we went to this Uvalde and it was lovely, and we saw the thing, and not mention it. But the first thing they mention is the massacre from 2022. So it's not going well, is it? It's not going well at all. New York City property owners see big increase in $1,000 pigeon poop fines for the birds. The city's health department isn't taking crap anymore when it comes to pigeon poop, socking landlords with 29% more summonses in 2023 compared to the first previous year. Data being reviewed shows the agency issued 295 summonses to property owners who failed to clean up unsanitary pigeon conditions, compared to 228 dished out in 2022. Records show, you can't be held responsible for pigeons. Unless, of course, you have a building where it's derelict and pigeons breed there, then maybe you should board it up or something. The body of the third victim from Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse has been recovered. The body of the third construction worker killed in the Key Bridge collapse was recovered by authorities on Friday. Divers found the 38-year-old Maino Yasor Suzo Sandalova in the wreckage around 10:30 a.m, 11 days after the disaster that claimed the lives of 6 workers who had been repairing potholes on the bridge. And the problem you've got is, because the way it collapsed, and the bridge, it wasn't like a modern bridge where there's nothing above apart from cables. This had the entire structure above it of all the metal, so all that will have collapsed down and crushed, and therefore it would have crushed the cars and the vehicles. And you can't send divers down there, potentially when there's very bad visibility. So they've had to move some of the wreckage in order to gain access to, hopefully they can retrieve the other 3 missing bodies as well. On a completely different note, hilarious video of cop tackling loose pig terrorising Utah neighbourhood as internet snorting. This pig was wanted for insubordination. A Utah cop dove and tackled the runaway pig in a viral video that has the internet snorting. Police in Grantsville, about 30 miles southwest of Salt Lake City, received several complaints over the past week about 3 little pigs that were wreaking havoc in a neighbourhood after breaking free. It looks quite happy there, the hog. It's like, oh, I'm going to get fed now. No, we're going to eat you. You're a pig. That's what we do. We eat them. Yum, nom, 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 nom. 2 escape unscathed after a small plane spirals out of the sky with parachute deployed in Florida. 2 people narrowly escaped from a small airplane that deployed its parachute as it spiraled down to a Florida backyard on Thursday. I looked up to see that it was an airplane with a parachute whirring down, about to crash into the ground, said Sherry Caterant of Brandon, who filmed the plane spiralling descent when she heard a loud explosion sound. But yeah, this seems to be a way forward, and I'm wondering if they can do something similar in passenger airliners, where maybe you jettison the passenger cabin once it gets to a safe height to do that, and parachutes lower that down, and the rest of the plane just goes wherever it goes. Yeah, no, maybe, no, yeah, no. Okay then, maybe not. Shocked New Yorkers shout from apartments after rare earthquake rattles the city. It was a dramatic 4.8 magnitude earthquake that sparked chaos and caused shocked residents of New York City apartments to shout at each other in confusion. The floor just started shaking. One person can be heard yelling in footage posted by X-user. I thought it was an earthquake. Another resident shouts as the quake rattled the complex. Me too. A further resident. Oh my God, they're so intelligent in America, aren't they? I mean, you know. Do astronauts have to take extra precautions during solar eclipse of 2024? No. Of course not. They're in space. They've already got to take precautions as it is. That's a stupid statement. Earthquake strikes California Bay Area the day after the New York City metro rattled. Now this is all part of an ongoing stream of earthquakes around the world. You've obviously as well got, because all the tectonic plates are linked one way or another, you've also got the continuing earthquakes going on in Iceland, and the obviously the volcanoes in the rupture between the tectonic plates, but you've also got Mount Etna coming to life and spewed out some well, vapor rings, smoke rings earlier on this week as well. So I think we're about to hit a point of a lot of seismic activity around the planet, and if I lived in San Francisco, I think I would be moving out, like right away, moving out. And that was the week's news, which brings us to the news that makes you go or and all various other points in between. So, and various other points in between. Yes, we are. So yeah, this is the news is so dreadfully awful at the moment that yeah, we need to have some light relief from the news. So we will look at the lighter side of the world's news as reported from all four corners of the planet, which is weird because it's round, doesn't have any corners at all. Now this one was UK, and I meant to do it last week, but I'll be honest, I forgot. I missed it, so I'm doing it now. So this is our starter for 10. I don't know if you can read that or not, but sex festival in Tunbridge Wells sparks concern about parking. They're not worried about the sex festival itself. It's just it's going to mess up the parking for Tunbridge Wells. I mean that's very Tunbridge Wells, isn't it? You know, very Middle England, very kind of thing. Spoof Wigan today. Google's hierarchy has claimed Wiganers have got issues for all searching for the same thing this Easter Sunday. Number one, is Muffin Man open today? Muffin Man being a local baker's. Number two, is Galloway's open today? Galloway's being a local baker's. Pie shop basically. And number three, where can I get a bloody pie? Which amused me because Easter Sunday everywhere was shut. An NHS doctor has warned people not to eat their Easter eggs in one go, sparking a fierce backlash online. And Ash Gould, one of the presenters on Talk TV, said there are special wards for Easter egg patients, and rightly so as well. We can't have people eating our Easter eggs and they're not being treated properly for whatever it is you get. And this is a weird one. This was on Australian news, but it's more funny than anything else. What you see in there is a orchard of some kind, and that mark in the middle of the picture is actually a kangaroo that somehow managed to get on top of the netting, which is protecting the growth from actually getting attacked by pests and things. So yeah, weird. Luke Marsden, April Fool's Day. I would like to thank Wigan Council for the offer of a star on the Wigan Walk of Fame. I'm glad they finally come to their senses. Which of course is a huge joke because Wigan Council hate Luke Marsden as much as they hate me. And you say hate is a strong word, but they really do hate us both. Even though we've got very different political views on things, but yeah, it did amuse me somewhat. A women-only football competition has been branded misogynistic after it was won by a team with 5 trans players. They won every game, including a 10-0 victory where one trans player scored 6 goals. Do people not care about the safety of women? And they're right, as I've said before. People who are trans should not be playing sports with people who are not trans, regardless of gender. Why don't, if there's enough of them, why don't they just have their own football teams and their own football leagues and their own athletes and stuff like that? It makes more sense. A Banksy just to cheer us up a little bit. And then to cheer us up a little bit more, don't you hate bad Parkers? Well, here's someone getting revenge. Meanwhile in Massachusetts. See, what I would have done there is, I would have gone round the two spherical objects with a bigger spherical object, put a sad face, a sad mouth at the bottom of it, and then it would have been a dickhead. But yeah, sorry. And I've not seen this, but it does look interesting. I found a new sport to fill the gap hole in my life between Super Bowl and March Madness. It's called motorcycle chariot racing. So yeah, instead of having horses, they've got motorbikes chained together. I think it's genius. Jimmy Carr, when a man changes his status on Facebook from single to in a relationship, I think it should say under new management, which is true in many cases. Oh, let's have another Banksy. Yeah, no idea. Cashless society, I suppose, or something. I don't know. Now this one is genius. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. So I'm just curious. Is it? This is a tweet. So this is Oliver, and he's tweeting Lancashire Police. Hi, just curious. Is it illegal to park in a mother and child place if you don't have any children with you? The Lancashire Police replied, "Hi Oliver, we would suggest you refer this matter to the owner of the private car park." Oliver replies, "No, I think I want to refer this matter to you." And the reason being, hang on, what's going on here? There we go. The reason being, it's a police car in the toddler and mother. I mean, that genius, absolute genius. I just love stuff like that. It's so well done. But yeah, it's a police car parked in a mother and child bay, and yeah, top hat. Doff the hat to. To Oliver. Well done, Oliver. Swapping out lager for common pub alternatives could save you 15% per pint. With the cost of everyday items soaring, many of us are looking to cut back our spending, and one simple swap in the pub could save you nearly £1 per pint, which does sound good, because I've been at the pub, as I mentioned earlier on Friday night for many hours, spending quite a bit of money, and also having quite a bit of money spent on me as well. It is quite expensive going to the pub, I didn't realise. World's most haunted restaurants, including eatery spooked by ghost of smuggler. Chef Christian Kish has travelled to the most remote places for his new series, Restaurants at the End of the World. And some of them are incredibly haunted, except of course they're not, because ghosts don't exist. Ghosts don't exist. Man who drove 700 miles to set fire to a Twitch streamer's car is jailed, and rightly so. Just Foxy, also known as Kylie Carter, took to X in June last year to share the harrowing news by posting a photo of the blaze alongside a snap of the ruins of a Jaguar F-Type. So this gentleman had driven 700 miles just to set fire to her car for whatever reason. It's beyond pathetic. Talking of which, Liz Truss. Liz Truss announces book, but ex-users panic with Daily Star lettuce gags. In 2022, we challenged Liz Truss to outlast our Google-eyed vegetable as she bid to remain at 10 Downing Street for as long as possible, and she resigned on her 50th day. The lettuce won. So yeah, it's going to be a short book, isn't it? It's going to be more of a pamphlet than a book, and even that'd be too long. UK heatwave warnings with mid-20s or higher on cards for 2 weeks straight. Get in. Of course, experts are coming up with this nonsense, so it's probably not true, because soon we'll find out something else. Bird flu passes to human in contact with infected cows as virus reaches 5 states. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, it's only the second time a human has caught bird flu in the US following an initial incident in Colorado in 2022. So it's, not many. This is one for the guys. One part of the body can expose your size, and it's not your feet. Women appear to prefer an average sized. Anyway, a medical expert says, but she adds that there's an easy way to tell how well endowed a man is while he's still dressed. Well, yeah, there's that many people who wear pants that are that tight. You don't need to even think about it. You're like, okay then. The classic myth suggests there's a correlation between the size of a bloke's hands or feet with the size of a fella's manhood. But Dr. Rina Malik told the Diary of a CEO podcast that the only serious researchers of the topic came up with very different answers. There's one study, it's a Japanese study, where they looked at only Japanese men, so there are some limitations. But they measured all these body parts and penile length, and they found that it was the nose length that correlated with penile length, not hand length or foot. So the bigger the nose, the bigger the winger. Yep. I've got one of the biggest noses in the world, and my Todger's tiny. So that one's out the window. But good luck anyway. Maybe it's different in Japan or wherever it was. Snow coming. So hang on, we had a heat wave. Now we've got snow coming to 8 UK cities as maps show 5 centimetres per hour flurries this week. And that'll explain why my Todgers are tiny. It's cold. A bit nippy, isn't it? And then I look at this picture and it shrinks. Donald Trump's new shrunken net worth after forking out 1.15 billion in losses. The newspaper's got its calculator out for a spot of money maths after Donald Trump was forced to fork out a massive sum to the court, and his company's values plummeted. Plummeted. They did. They went down the pan. See, this guy hasn't got a big nose. I have one of the world's largest penises. It's so massive, women are scared of me. Britain's biggest Jamaican pathos rapper is set for a multi-million-pound deal on racy subscription site, and it's all thanks to his willy size. He reckons he's got one of the world's biggest members. To be fair, he looks like one of the world's biggest members. I refer you back to the car. I paid £3,000 to marry myself. Trolls who say no one would love me are wrong. I don't think that really proves the point. You married yourself. That means you love yourself. But you've got to love yourself anyway, no matter what your flaws are. But it's not someone else. So you've not really proved anyone wrong. You've just basically spent £3,000 on a party. Hello, Andy the cyclist. Welcome. Every single Japanese person will have the same surname in 500 years' time. Just 1.53% of Japan has this surname at present, but the ever more popular moniker could take over by 2531 thanks to the nation's laws, according to experts. Smith. The Smiths are taking over the world. Britain facing flea epidemic as people warned how to keep critters away. Nearly 10,000 people have taken to Google within the last month for tips of how to get rid of fleas, with many Brits blaming their cats and dogs for the unwanted invasion. Well, what else can you blame? Silencers had fleas. So yes, I think there is a flea epidemic because it's the first cat I've had who's had fleas. But she won't wear collars, she takes them off. Hobnobs are the ultimate biscuit to dunking cups of tea, experts reveal. Food boffins have revealed the best biscuit flavours to pair with a classic brew are earthy oat-based snacks which complement the strong malty taste of a cuppa. Now, I don't drink tea and I don't eat oaty biscuits. So what is your favourite dunking biscuit? I remember I used to dunk chocolate bourbons in hot drinks. The only thing I dunk now is when I've got ice cold Guinness, I'll dunk a Jaffa cake in there. Only when it's ice cold though, because it makes the chocolate go crunchy, and yeah, it's really nice. Digestive, says Kelly. So we've got the experts saying it's earthy, alty based snacks, but Kelly is saying no, it's the digestive, the humble digestive, plain or chocolate. Because I imagine the chocolate would melt, and that wouldn't be very pleasant. So probably plain. Anyone else got a favourite bicky before we move on? Although to be fair, some of you are on a delay anyway, so I've probably moved on to Kate. Harry's painful place over comments about cancer-stricken Kate in Spare. A royal expert, Tessa Dunlop, reckons Prince Harry might be feeling uncomfortable over some of his harsh words in his memoir, saying he has written stuff that can't be retracted. Well, yeah, obviously when you write something and then it's published worldwide and you're a world famous figure, you can't retract it. But I'm pretty sure that he didn't know that Kate was about to announce that she's got cancer. I don't drink tea or coffee. Plain or rich tea, 2 dunks, or it drops in and ruins it. Yeah, there is that as well. Time Traveller warns of human-monkey hybrid and World War III coming this year. A self-proclaimed time traveller has shared 5 major predictions they claim will take place over the course of the next 9 months. And some of them are pretty wild. We're going to have a human-monkey hybrid. Well, Elon Musk, I mean, isn't he one already? Gareth Bale, isn't he one already? Yeah, if you're a time traveller and you've travelled from the future, wouldn't you cough again back to the future to avoid a nuclear annihilation? But also, they say they're a time traveller, so I question their honesty. Just saying. Hashtag. WhatsApp and Instagram down as thousands of users worldwide report problems. WhatsApp and Instagram users have reported being unable to access the Meta-owned apps, with thousands taken to rival platform X, formerly Twitter, to complain. I didn't know WhatsApp was owned by Meta, but yeah, I must admit I had problems with Instagram earlier on this week. So, because I use a lot of the, I use Instagram a lot for the shop. Heinz launches new meaty ketchup flavour and bacon lovers will go wild for it. The ketchup fans, your day has just got even better as Heinz is launching a brand spanking new flavour, and it certainly will not please the meat lovers, and it certainly will please the meat lovers amongst us, or not. So yeah, I will review that at some point in the future. Quest launch to find Excalibur sword. Legend says King Arthur tossed away. An ambitious team including filmmakers, divers and tech SWAT have set out on a bold quest to find the magical sword Excalibur, said to have been thrown into the waters of an enchanted British lake. No. Heart-wrenching tributes to Hero. Brits killed in World Central Kitchen strike. John Chapman 57, James Kirby 47 and James Henderson 33 have been held as heroes as they were among the 7 World Central Kitchen charity aid workers killed in the Israeli airstrike on the Monday. Yeah, you're going out there to help people and you get murdered by the people who are trying to kill the people you're trying to help. Minnie Driver claims producers wanted her nipples on show in a film. Minnie Driver has claimed she was the only cast member not allowed to wear a wetsuit under a costume while filming a Hollywood movie because producers wanted viewers to see my nipples. Now, I think nipples are a very private thing and you wouldn't get me exposing my nipples anytime ever. And if you're a lady, certainly not. So I think that is disgraceful. And yeah, let's say you wouldn't catch me doing that. Brits warned animals could go mad during solar eclipse, but experts are unsure why. The solar eclipse won't be visible in the United Kingdom, but your pet animals might still show some very weird behaviour, with experts having no idea as to why. Why are you doing that? I mean, you know, most animals are mad anyway, aren't they? So. Istanbul nightclub fire cause emerges after 29 die trapped in a labyrinth. The cause of the fire that sped through an Istanbul nightclub during renovations on Tuesday, killing 29 people, as reported to be revealed by anonymous fire department officials. And basically it was an electrical fault in the building which was being done up. So someone's about to get the thingamabob. Can we bring little Rollo into the shop to meet you and have an interview? He's very vocal and will answer a lot. He probably would, to be fair. However, dogs are not allowed in the shopping centre. Even little Rollos. I don't see why. I think dogs should be allowed in the shopping centre, to be fair, but there you go. NASA issues warning to millions as solar eclipse to plunge the US into darkness as the meteorological event makes its way across a dozen states on April the 8th, which is tomorrow. Experts are begging viewers to protect themselves as eye doctors brace themselves for an influx of visits. Now, my partial eclipse story was I was working, I think it was on the Wirral, when England had the eclipse, which was total eclipse down in Cornwall, but only partial up here. And we were told, you know, don't look at it, 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 buy the glasses, then don't look at it, don't look at it, don't look at it. And I noticed it was going dark, but I thought, no, I've been told not to look at it, so I'm not going to look at it. It went, you know, like dusk dark. And I was working on this, I'd driven to this cab I was working on, it was for Telly West, who are now Virgin Media. And as I bent down to go into the cab, and sort something out, I looked up, and as I looked up, over the top of the cab was the sun with half of it, well, more than half of it missing with the partial eclipse, but there was a load of cloud in front of it. So I saw it without even wanting to see it, and yeah, it was amazing. It was weird seeing the sun in eclipse. Although, to be fair, when the moon's in almost eclipse, it's almost the same thing, isn't it? Because it's only the sunlight that you see. So, but it is brighter, I suppose. Anyway, sausage dog. He's only one. Artificial intelligence deployed as weapon in war with invasive Asian hornets. A new AI system which attracts hornets to a monitoring station and captures images using overhead cameras can identify the hornet species with almost perfect accuracy. Well, here's an idea. Why don't you, if you can get the invasive species into somewhere you want it to be, why don't you just kill it? Don't identify it, kill it. Because we don't want hornets in the UK, thank you very much. What we want is cornets. World's oldest man dies aged 114 after drinking same alcoholic drink every day. I mean, that must have been a big glass when he started, if it's the same drink every day. 114 years. June Vicien Pierre from Venezuela was confirmed as the world's oldest man alive in May 2022, but has now sadly passed away at the age of 114, his family have confirmed, which now makes a gentleman in the northwest of England who's 111 the official oldest person in the world. Well, the oldest man in the world anyway. UK weather map show 20-degree Scorcher weekend despite 10 centimetre per hour snow blast. Now they got this right. There was 20 degrees reached this weekend in Suffolk, but 10 centimetre per hour snow? No. Bloody experts get it wrong again. Although to be fair, for them this is good. Doomsday fish that predicts disasters caught hours before the Taiwan earthquake. The doomsday fish, said to appear when a disaster is looming, was found hours before the deadly earthquake struck Taiwan, with some saying the creature predicted the catastrophe. I mean, I talk about catastrophe. Looks would be one for that fish, wouldn't it? It's not the prettiest fish ever, but maybe it did detect stuff under the sea, and because I imagine that's a deep fish that swims very deep. Maybe it tried to get away and then ended up in shallow water and then couldn't breathe because of the lack of pressure, because it needed pressure to live, and then drowned, or did whatever, and then floated to the beach, and then the earthquake hits. Tesco, Sainsbury's, Asda and Morrison's accused of penalising older customers. I've been saying this for months, if not longer. Supermarkets including Tesco, Morrison's, Sainsbury's, Asda and Lidl have been accused of locking out thousands of older shoppers from money-saving online loyalty deals. I think anything that's got to do with a card that you've got to get online is victimising people. Tesco customers slam joke supermarket for rolling out new shopping charge. Some Tesco customers are not happy after the major supermarket started to charge shoppers 10p each time they want to take the plastic coat hangers home with them. So you get charged 10p for taking the plastic coat hanger home with you. I must admit, I never take the coat hangers home. I always have to recycle them. A new bird flu pandemic could be 100 times worse than COVID, researchers warn. I think we've already read that one or something similar anyway. Where are we up to? I lost my place. I found it again though, folks. Found it again. Fears Putin backs Haiti boss to create a Russian foothold in America's face. As the violent gang insurrection in Haiti approaches its second month, a military expert has warned Putin could be seeking to influence proceedings in the fractured nation to suit his own needs. Well, that would be a selfish thing to do. Surely he wouldn't do that. B virus detected in human for the first time after a rampaging monkey horde attack. According to an expert, it is very rare for the humans to contract the B virus, with only around 50 cases recorded worldwide since the virus was first identified in 1932. So yeah, could this be a new pandemic? No, it's just don't get bitten by a monkey. Humans on verge of discovering ghosts are real. Experts make bombshell claim. Leading experts on near-death experiences reckon we will soon find out what happens when we die, meaning we could discover ghosts or other haunting spirits. Well, absolute nonsense. Let's have a joke from Jimmy Carr. Apparently, the rear passenger side of the car is the safest place to be in an accident, although I think if you're back there, it might explain why you crashed. Yeah? No? Yeah? No? Well, I liked it. Something I never thought of, but it's true. Antarctica, the confusing continent. So you got the South Pole, and 360 degrees around that is north. So it's got north, north again, north 2, other north, still north, also north. But yeah, it's a good point, well made. Mountain lion that made schools go into lockdown turned out to be a fat-assed cat. Now, mountain lions are lean and mean and big. That's just a fat cat. Looks like Bagpuss, but dyed orange. Some people panic too easy. NASA's accidental game of space billiards after mission to deflect asteroid. NASA's DART spacecraft successfully demonstrated the ability to change the course of an asteroid, a technique that could be employed if any threatened Earth, but sent boulders hurtling towards Mars. So we might have saved ourselves, but we've upset the neighbours on Mars, so we're going to get invaded anyway. I think I'd sooner have an asteroid hit, thank you very much. Russia's state of emergency as radiation leak with lethal contamination is found. An area of Khabarovsk, a city on the Amur River in southeastern Russia, has been shut down as authorities scramble to locate the source of the cancer-causing radiation. So there's radiation been found, but they don't know where it's coming from. That's slightly worrying, isn't it? Well, slightly, I mean mega worrying. Extremely rare pink handfish versus new science to Barbie pig Who wins in a fight? If you plucked up the critically endangered pink antfish and the new to science Barbie pig out of the ocean and put them into the ring, who would win? Only AI knows. But of course it doesn't, because AI is full of bull. Might be good one day, but we're way off that yet. Walkers make huge change to 3 crisp flavours, and it's happening in weeks. Walker's Crisp is making a major change to its stock, and fans are pleased. It comes as the popular brand axed a number of iconic flavours from supermarket shelves, but they do that and then bring them back again in a blaze of glory. I bought some squares from who are now owned by Walkers, and the cheese and onion was in the green packet and the salt and vinegar was in the blue packet, and I'm like, but these are Walkers. How does that work? Because you can see there quite clearly cheese and onion is in the blue package on the red packs, and the green is salt and vinegar. So yeah, if it's squares, it doesn't work like that. Weird. Holy Grail footage of a huge boomerang UFO spotted on space station live stream. Conspiracy theories disclose screen the Grim Far believes he's come across the Holy Grail of UFO evidence on a space station live stream after allegedly spotting a giant boomerang shaped aircraft. Well, it's not an aircraft, it's a spaceship. And could it not just be like space debris? Because we've had a Chinese space station-y thing crash into Earth in the last couple of weeks. Might not be some debris from that. ISIS as new target as terror group launches attack on desert truffle hunters. ISIS terrorists are now hunting down truffle growers and hunters in the remote parts of the Syrian desert in a desperate bid to grab cash to carry out future attacks. Because truffles, basically a mushroom, are extraordinarily expensive and valuable. So ISIS have thought we can make money with them. UK slapped with snowy -2 degree temperatures and 20 degree scorcher in just one weekend. Except we weren't. It went a bit cold, it went a bit windy, but that were it. Fake news. Britain to be battered by Storm Olivia and Kathleen with 83-mile-an-hour winds. The UK faces blustery and showery weather with more than 90 flood alerts in place as the two weather systems prepare to strike back to back following a winter of turbulent conditions. And to be fair, it was blustery. I'll give them that one. They can have that. I will give it them. Well done, you. Peruvian alien mummies might not be fake and must be analysed, Top Boffin says. The discovery of unusual mummified corpses with 3 fingers and elongated skulls has long been shrouded in mystery. Now scientists say they could be very real and need further examination. So that's one that's going to go on forever, isn't it? Meanwhile, in Wigan, Storm Kathleen slams crane through the roof as home at the roof after Met Office weather warning. Winds are expected to reach speeds of 70 miles an hour in some parts of the country as Storm Kathleen continues to cause chaos, sending a crane crashing through the roof of a residential home in Wigan. Outskirts of Wigan, but still Wigan. Wigan! Remember, we had a tornado in Staley Vegas. Well, Mosley. So yeah, we're getting all the fantastic weather conditions up here, aren't we? Harry having sleepless nights. Harry having sleepless nights with Meghan permanently aggrieved, experts say. Prince Harry set to return to the UK next month for a celebration of 10 years of the Invictus Games, but the visit said to be causing him sleepless nights. No, it's all the bullshit you've come up with and all the shit stirring you've been doing that's giving you sleepless nights, because people are calling you out on it now. Met Office warnings for hay fever sufferers as pollen bomb heads for UK. Now, I always get hay fever more this time of year than I do at later on in the year. So I get itchy eyes and I get a couple of lumps in my eye when it's really bad, in my eyelid. Get a couple of lumps, which are there now actually. But then they go away again. So yeah, I'm suffering from hay fever, get a really sore eye and everything, sneeze everywhere. But yeah, we're getting a pollen bomb, which means weather conditions. It's been very wet, so no pollen's been released by the trees. But then if we get this heat wave, all the trees are going to think, right, quick, we better release our pollen, and yeah, wallop. Meghan Markle won't set foot in the UK again. The best news story of the week. Oh, God. What a woman. What a woman, what a woman, what a woman, what a woman. No, I haven't seen the video of that crane crash. National emergency, a graves dug up to make deadly drug from human bones. Sierra Leone has declared a national emergency over rampant use of a drug said to be made from human bones, with addicts reportedly digging up graves to make the highly addictive substance. I mean, human bones? No. Ah, cute mouse. Bloke bitten by toilet rats on the loo is hospitalised with deadly infection. A man's visit to the loo ended in tragedy after he was bitten by a rat hanging out in the bog and rushed to hospital with a rare and potentially lethal infection. Lot of bollocks, if you ask me. Oh no, that's where he was bit, sorry. 3 asteroids whizzing towards Earth in 2024, and 2 of them could collide with us. At least 2 asteroids have a chance of colliding with Earth this year, with the 3rd set to make a close flyby by the end of 2024, according to Space Boffins. Which is, I mean, considering how much space they've got to look at for a rock that's, you know, compared to the size of space, an atom in a pinhead, it's quite impressive they come up with 3. Bigfoot most likely hiding in mountains with mystery energy and hellhounds. What? Hellhounds? What? No. Residents of cockroach-infested shipping container estates being booted out. Residents of London's Meath Court and Marsden Court shipping container estates were given just weeks to find somewhere else to live after Ealing Council handed them eviction notices. To be fair, looking at that, I wouldn't want to live there. You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of that island off the coast of Japan that used to be a mining island, featured in Skyfall, I think, where all the buildings were stacked on top of each other, and there was, I think it was the most densely populated part of the planet because it was tiny and it had like 20,000 people living there or something, and they just kept building these buildings on top of each other without any structured support, and now they've all been abandoned, they're all kind of collapsing into each other, and all the paints and trees are growing everywhere and everything, and that looks like that to me. Horrendous place to live. UK weather map show final snow blast of the year with 5 centimetres per hour coming soon, except it's not, is it? Because you're talking out your ass. Talking of which, World War III fears grow as Israel could debut deadly EMP bombs on Iran. Tensions are boiling over the Middle East, with rumours of Iran launching an attack on Israel said to be imminent, but Israel could have a powerful weapon up its sleeve. EMP, which electronic magnetic pulse. Basically, it's the thing in science fiction movies that kills all computer stuff in an area or on the planet, depending on the movie. I was abducted by aliens who left me paralysed with an ice cold touch, says Reverend Bill Bean. Bill Bean. He's had his fair share of brushes with otherworldly beings, from demons to aliens. He even claims he was once abducted from his own home by creepy entities from another realm. Yeah. And he's also got a job working for one of the biggest fairy stories ever created by humanity. So this guy's just living a lie. Elon Musk wants to make Star Trek real, and it's possible for the first time ever. SpaceX CEO Elon Musk promised to make Star Trek real and reckons multi-planetary existence is now possible for the first time ever. However, he also thinks we might be alone in the universe. So we ain't going to find any Vulcans or Klingons, which is not a bad thing, or cute little airy space aliens that you can have as pets. No, we're not going to find any of them, he reckons. No, but it's not going to happen. But it would be interesting. But it won't be my lifetime, and it probably won't be Elon Musk's lifetime either, or anyone else watching this. Unless, of course, you're watching this in 50 years' time and it's already a thing. Maybe you're in a starship heading towards, a galaxy that we've never been before. In which case, welcome to live long and prosper land and all that kind of thing. Well done to you. And that ends the funny news, or the news that makes you go, and brings us to the breaking news. Now, the breaking news is interesting because it's happened whilst I've been doing this. And it's even more or less likely now I can see what you're saying, because they made the thing bigger that appears. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Oh, Sainsbury's is slashing prices on more than 1,000 popular products. That sounds good, doesn't it? So what we got here? BBC iPlayer app is being shut down for millions of users. Full list of devices affected, which they do this. I didn't realise they did this, but there you go. They do. 5 people explain what it actually feels like to die. Something I think about more and more these days, but there you go. The strange abandoned building scattered around Great Manchester. That's not breaking news. Santander to quit lending standards body. So they're going on their own. Oh dear. Engine parts fall off Southwest Airlines Boeing plane during the takeoff. Slightly worrying. New daily charge could see UK tourists boycott the Canary Islands. Doesn't tell us what they are, it's clickbait, isn't it? Merseyside NHS in the toughest moments. They're having a disaster at the moment. And where are we at? Oh, government to launch study to find out why drivers are increasingly being dazzled by headlights. Which I point out quite a lot. It's not a surprise. It's because some cars have LED lights, and LEDs are fucking bright. Yeah, okay. Man stabbed to death near Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Hardest geezer, Russ Cook, becomes the first person to run the length of Africa. Zaporizhzhia drone attack on nuclear plants significantly increases accident risk, says UN watchdog. Really? Labour sets out plans to digitise children's health care. More train strikes going on here, there and everywhere. What else is going on? You can buy a house for under £100,000 in this British ghost town. It's the one with that big bridge where the big blue thing where it has a trolley thing that goes underneath. I don't know. Lindsay Hoyle's father has died. The Speaker of the House, Sir Lindsay Hoyle's father, has passed away. Aristocrats have more influence now than 150 years ago, research claims. Is that because they're the people who are on the top of the thing? And I think that's it. I think that is your lot for the breaking news. It was a bit boring, to be fair, but breaking news generally is. So we've been on for 1 hour and 43 minutes, which is pretty decent. We've had 44 views, we've had 6 likes, we've got 6 viewers currently. Average view duration is 15 minutes and 34 seconds. Obviously people pop in and pop out and other people watch it all the way through. Big shout out to Toff, hope you're feeling good. Also Alan Barton, Steve LFC1, Kelly, Buxton, Kieran, Reese, who else has been on in the chat? Andy the Cyclist, who just basically did a round of applause for no apparent reason. Thanks for not the 9 o'clock news. I'm toying with the idea of moving it to news at 10. That's something I'm currently putting through my mind at the minute. Should I move it to 10 o'clock? And then I can call it news at 10. I might get more later subscribers and viewers. But that might be pushing it out. I might do it as a special. But anyway, yeah. Thank you very much for watching, one and all. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. If you listen to this on the podcast. Yeah, you can go for your break now, JT. Not seen you for a while. Hope you're good. And Rachel. Go for your break now. You have my permission. And I will be seeing you. Until next time. Bye. Who's a pie at the end? I went, bye. Sunday news at 10, yeah. I don't know that.